Good day, class. I am your teacher for today. And today we are going to discuss about the Presidential Decree number 1006 or Presidential Decree 1006. The title is Professionalizing Teaching in the Philippines. So, before anything else, I would like to start it with an objectives. So, at the end of this lesson, the student should be able to evaluate the significance of adherence to professional standards and ethical conduct in enhancing the quality of education and fostering student learning outcomes. Second is to develop an appreciation for the importance of continuous professional development and lifelong learning in the teaching profession. Third is to practice effective communication skills in conveying information related to the policy decree to colleagues, educational stakeholders, and relevant authorities. So that's it for the objectives of this lesson. Now let's proceed to the section 1. So, the section 1 is the title itself, or the title of this Presidential Decree number 1006, the Professionalizing Teaching, specifically here in the Philippines. So it is issued during September 22, 1976, and issued by the President Ferdinand E. Marcos. And the goal or the objective of this presidential decree is to professionalize teaching, regulate practice, and enhance educational standards. So before I proceed to the next section, before we understand all the section for this presidential decree, I would like to answer the question, why does this presidential decree existed about the professionalizing teaching? Because although teaching requires a number of years to study, it is the only course that is not yet considered as a profession before. So in recognition of that, the vital rules for the teachers in nation building and as an incentive to raise the morale of teachers, it is imperative that they be considered as professionals and teaching must be recognized as a profession. So that's it. Now, let's proceed to the section 2, the Declaration of Policy. So, the Philippine government underscores its primary focus on teacher education, emphasizing its pivotal role in shaping the quality of education in the country. This commitment to enhancing teacher education reflects a fundamental understanding of the profound influence and educators who wield in molding the minds and futures of the nation's youth or the students here in our country. So first, we have the emphasize the primary concern for teacher education. So the emphasis on teacher education signifies a recognition of teachers as the cornerstone of the educational system. And research says that the effective teaching is one of the most significant factors influencing the achievements of our students. So by prioritizing teacher education, the policymakers acknowledge the importance of equipping educators with knowledge, the skills, and the pedagogical techniques necessary to facilitate meaningful learning experience for the students. And the second one is the commitment to high-quality education tailored to Philippine needs. So the declaration underscores the government's commitment to providing a high-quality education tailored to the specific needs of the students here in the Philippines. So this tailored approach recognizes the diverse social, cultural, economic, and geographical context within which Filipino students should learn. So by ensuring that teacher education programs are aligned with the unique challenges and also the opportunities present in the Philippine educational landscape, the government endeavors to cultivate of educators capable of addressing the needs of every learners effectively. Okay, so the third one is the government's role in ensuring professional standards. So the government's role in ensuring professional standard highlights its responsibility to uphold the integrity and credibility of the teaching profession. So it is establishing and enforcing standards for teacher education programs, licensure, and professional development fosters a culture of excellence within the education sector. So by holding educators to high standards of competence and ethical conduct, the government promotes accountability and trust in the teaching profession, ultimately benefiting students, schools, and of course the society as a whole. So this section 2, the Declaration of Policy, reflects a holistic approach to educational reform in the Philippines, with a particular emphasis on the pivotal role of the teacher's education and also by prioritizing the professional development of the educators and tailoring educational practices to local needs or the basic needs and upholding the rigorous standards for excellence. And the government lays the foundation for a high-quality education system capable of nurturing the talents and the aspirations of our future generations. So at this point, the section 3 definition of terms, we have to understand the clear definition of these terms, the teaching, the teachers, and the board. So now, let's proceed to the teaching. The teaching is a classroom instruction at elementary and secondary levels following National Board of Education curriculum in public or private schools. So the definition of teaching is the profession's primary focus on classroom instruction at the elementary and secondary levels. This definition aligns with the traditional understanding of teaching as the facilitation of learning within formal educational settings. So by specifying that teaching encompasses both part-time and full-time roles in public and private schools, the decree acknowledges the diverse employment arrangements prevalent in the educational sector. The second one is the teachers. It is an individuals engaged in teaching at elementary and secondary levels, including counselors, librarians, and vocational instructors legally qualified under the decree. So the term teachers encompasses a broad spectrum of educational professionals engaged in teaching at elementary and secondary levels. So this inclusive definition recognizes the various roles and responsibilities undertaken by the individuals contributing to the educational process. So it is not also the teachers, but it also includes the guidance counselors, school librarians, and vocational teachers, of course. So by encompassing the personnel involved in supervisory and administrative functions, the definition acknowledges the nature of teaching and the diverse skills sets required to support students learning effectively. And the last one is the board, the National Board for Teachers established by a decree. The board refers to the National Board for Teachers. It is tasked with overseeing and regulating the teaching profession in the Philippines. So here in the Philippines, we have the DepEd or the Department of the Education. So as the governing body responsible for setting standards, issuing licenses, and ensuring compliance with educational policies, the board plays a critical role in maintaining the quality and integrity of the teaching profession. So by providing a clear definition of the board's mandate, the decree establishes a framework for accountability and oversight within the educational sector. So the section 3 serves to clarify and codify the essential definitions of the relevant educational governance in the Philippines. So by defining the rules of teachers, specifying the scope of teaching, and establishing the authority of the board. The decree lays the groundwork for effective policy implementation and professional regulation within the educational sector. So now let's proceed to the section 4, the creation of the National Board for Teachers. So here, in lines with the co-chairman, we have the Secretary of Education and Culture and the Chairman, Civil Service Commission. And in the member, we have the Commissioner, Professional Regulations Commissions, and the 2 members representing the private sector to be appointed by the President. So, the composition of the board reflects a balanced representation of key stakeholders invested in the quality and integrity of teacher education and practice. So, the inclusion of the Secretary of Education and Culture as a co-chairman means that the government's commitment to educational governance and policy implementation. So by having the head of the education department or the Department of Education, the board ensures alignment with national educational goals and priorities. So similar to the chairman of the civil service also, or the chairman of the Civil Service Commission, brings expertise in personnel management and administration to the board's leadership. So this appointment emphasizes the importance of meritocracy, accountability, and adherence to civil service regulations within the teaching profession. So, furthermore, the presence of Commissioner of the Professional Regulation Commissions signifies a commitment to upholding professional standards and licensure requirements for educators. So, as the regulatory body responsible for licensing and regulating various professions in the Philippines, the Professional Regulation Commission ensures that the teachers meet the necessary qualifications and undergo continuous professional development to enhance their competencies. So the inclusion of these 2 members representing the private sector appointed by the President introduce perspectives from non-governmental stakeholders invested in education. So this representation acknowledges the vital role played by private institutions and organizations in shaping educational policies and practices in the Philippines. Though its diverse composition, the National Board for Teachers serve as a forum for a collaboration, dialogue, and decision-making, and fostering partnerships between government agencies and the private sector to advance the quality of a teacher education and support professional growth. So by bringing together stakeholders with complementary expertise and interests, the board is poised to address emerging challenges, explore innovative solutions, and promote continuous improvement in the teaching profession. So that's it for the section 4. The next one is the section 5, powers and duties. So first is appointing the examiners per teacher examinations and determining examination content. So the board is empowered to appoint examiners responsible for designing and administrating the board examination for teachers. So this examination serves as a benchmark for assessing the competence and proficiency of aspiring educators and is held annually to maintain standards in teacher education. So the next one is the fixing examination dates and locations, appointing supervisors and room examiners, and approving examination applications and results. So the board has the authority to determine the locations and schedules for examinations and appoint supervisors and room examiners, and also utilize schools' facilities for examination purposes. So this ensures that it has the smooth conduct of examinations and the integrity of the assessment process. The next one is monitoring conditions affecting the teaching profession, adopting measures for professional enhancement, and maintaining professional standards and ethics. So the board is tasked with monitoring and improving the conditions affecting the practice of the teaching profession. So these includes adopting measures to enhance professional standards and ethics. Thereby, it promoting excellence and integrity among educators. And suspending, revoking, replacing, or issuing professional teacher certificates and administrating oaths. So the board is responsible for that, for issuing, suspending, revoking, for issuing professional teacher certificates, and the official credential that validates an individual's qualifications to practice teaching. And the next one is, or the last is, the promulgating rules and regulations and exercising additional powers, functions, and duties necessary to fulfill the objectives of the decree. So the board is empowered to promulgate rules and regulations and exercise any powers, functions, and duties necessary to achieve the objectives of the decree itself effectively. So these grant that the board flexibility to adapt to evolving needs and challenges within the education sector. So the Section 5 is the outlines of the pivotal role of the National Board for Teachers in regulating and enhancing the teaching profession in the Philippines. So by exercising its powers and fulfilling its duties, the board plays a critical role in upholding standards, fostering professionalism, and ensuring continuous improvement of educators. So it is ultimately contributing to the overall quality of education in our country, the Philippines. So that's it for the Section 5. Now let's proceed to the Section 6. So the Section 6 is qualification requirements for examination applicants. So this decree lays out the qualification requirements that aspiring teachers in the Philippines must meet to be eligible to take the examination. So these requirements are very crucial in ensuring that individuals entering the teaching profession possess the necessary qualifications, characters, and capabilities to provide effective and ethical instruction to the students. So here we have the criteria or the eligibility criteria for applicants to take the teaching examination as per Presidential Decree number 1006. The first one is the citizenship requirement. So applicants must be citizens of the Philippines, except for those with at least 5 years of teaching experience in non-foreign exclusive schools. So applicants must be a Filipino citizens, okay? So with exceptions made for those who have at least 5 years of teaching experience in Philippine schools at the time of the decree's effectivity. So this citizenship requirement reflects the government's commitment to prioritizing Filipino educators in the national education system. Next one is the good moral character. So the applicants must possess good moral standing. So applicants must demonstrate a good moral character, underscoring the importance of integrity, ethics and professionalism in teaching profession. So the teachers serve as, of course, a role model and the mentors for the students, and upholding high moral standards is essential in fostering a positive learning environment or a positive learning experience. So the third one is physical and mental fitness. Applicants must be free from any physical or mental condition that would hinder their ability to teach effectively. So applicants must be physically and mentally fit to perform their duties efficiently. So teaching requires stamina, patience, and the ability to engage with students effectively, making physical and mental well-being essential prerequisites for educators. And the next one is educational qualifications. Applicants must hold specific educational degrees depending on the level they intend to teach. So we have here for kindergarten and elementary teachers, bachelor's degree in elementary education or its equivalent. So for example, we have here the B.Ed course, right? So the B.Ed is for the elementary teachers, and a course or a program that has a course for them to teach in elementary level students. And the second one is the for secondary school teachers. So the bachelor's degree or degree in education or its equivalent with a major and a minor, or a bachelor's degree in arts or science with at least 18 units in professional education. For secondary education, we have here, for example, us, a BS Ed students. We have a specific major program. For example, this is science, math, Filipino, English. Right? So, that's it for the secondary level. And, of course, for secondary vocational and technical course teachers, bachelor's degree in the field of specialization with at least 18 units in professional education. That is the TLE teachers or the senior high textbook teachers, right? So, all of this, applicants must possess the minimum educational qualifications specified for their respective teaching roles. This includes holding of, like what I said, a bachelor's degree in education or its equivalent, with specialization requirements for different grade levels and subjects. So these educational requirements ensure that teachers have the necessary knowledge, skills, and competences to deliver quality instruction in their areas of expertise. And the last one is the application process. Applications must be submitted to designated offices, preferably those of the Civil Service Commission and the Department of Education and Culture, which will screen and approve them and issue permits to qualified applicants to take the examination. So to facilitate the application process, it is preferably to pass or to Civil Service Commission and the Department of Education, and is responsible for screening and approving the applications and issuing permits to eligible candidates to take the examination. So this centralized process streamlines administrative procedures and ensures consistency in the assessment of applicants' qualifications. So the next one is the Section 7, Appointment of Examiners. So it addresses the appointment of examiners for teachers' examinations here in our country, the Philippines. This section emphasizes the importance of selecting examiners who are recognized authorities in teacher education to ensure the credibility and validity of the examination process. So first, we have the board appoints examiners for examinations, ensuring they are recognized authorities in teacher education. So the requirement for the requirements for the examiners to be recognized authorities in teacher education underscores the necessity of subject matter and expertise experience in the assessment of the aspiring educators. By appointing individuals with a deep understanding of pedagogy, curriculum development, and assessment practices. So the board aims to maintain the relevance of the examination content. And the next one is the examiner's identities remain undisclosed until after examination results are released, preserving the integrity of the assessment process. So the provision to withhold the disclosure of examiners' names until after the release of the results or the examination results enhances the integrity and the impartiality of the assessment process. So this precaution prevents potential biases or undue influence and preserves the anonymity of examiners, safeguarding the credibility of the examination's outcome. And the third is examiners receive compensation not less than 5 pesos per examinee and capped at 18,000 pesos per examination, with additional compensation for government-employed examiners. So the decree specifies compensation for examiners, ensuring that they receive adequate remuneration for their services, while the exact amount is determined by the board is a set of a minimum of 5 pesos and a maximum with a cap of 18,000 pesos per examination of the examiner. So this compensation acknowledges the time, effort, and expertise required to fulfill the responsibilities of an examiner and incentivizes qualified individuals to participate in the examination process. So, furthermore, the provision allows examiners who are government employees to receive compensation in addition to their regular salaries, recognizing their extra workload and contribution to the examination process. So, the Section 7 appointment of examiners reflects the government's commitment to maintaining the quality and fairness of the teacher's examination in the Philippines. So, by appointing qualified and impartial examiners, withholding their identities to prevent bias, and providing appropriate compensation for their service. So, the decree upholds the integrity of the examination system and ensures that the aspiring educators are evaluated fairly and accurately. And that's it for the Section 7. So now let's proceed to the Section 8, Scope of Examination. So the outlines of this is the scope of teacher examinations in the Philippines, highlighting the importance of aligning examination content with the teaching plans of legally constituted schools in the country. So here the explanation of examination content. So the emphasis on written tests underscores the significance of assessing candidates' knowledge, understanding, and proficiency in key areas of teacher education. So these written tests are designed by the board, which determines their scope based on the curriculum and teaching plans of schools operating within the Philippine education system. So the alignment with educational standards. So by considering the teaching plans of legally constituted schools, the board ensures that the examination content reflects the educational priorities, standards, and expectations established by relevant authorities. This alignment enhances the relevance and the validity of the examination process, ensuring that the aspiring educators are evaluated based on their readiness to meet the demands of teaching in the Philippine school or schools here in the Philippines. So, the Section 8 emphasizes the need to maintain coherence and consistency between teachers' examinations, and the broader educational framework in the Philippines. So by defining the scope of the examination in this manner, the decree aims to uphold the quality and relevance of teacher education and certification, ultimately benefiting students, schools, and the education system as a whole. So that's it for the Section 8. Now, for the Section 9, the ratings in the examination, we have here the passing criteria and the minimum score requirements. So the Section 9 establishes the minimum passing criteria for teacher examinations here in the Philippines. To successfully pass the examinations, candidates must achieve a general average of at least 70% across all subjects, with no individual subject rating failing below 50%. These clear, straightforward passing criteria set by the decree ensures that the aspiring educators demonstrate a solid understanding and competence in all areas of the examination. So by requiring a minimum overall average of 70%, the decree upholds a standard of proficiency necessary for effective teaching. So moreover, the provision that no subject should fall below 50% ensures that candidates possess a foundational understanding of subject area assessed in the examination. So this requirement underscores the importance of comprehensive knowledge and proficiency in all relevant topics for aspiring educators. So in summary, the Section 9 defines the minimum standards for success in teaching or in teacher examinations, emphasizing both the depth of knowledge. So by adhering to this passing criteria, the decree aims to uphold the quality and the competence of educators entering the profession. So that's it for the Section 9. Now let's proceed to Section 10. Section 10 reports on the results of the examination. So the timeline for reporting examination results. This provision emphasizes the importance of timely and efficient communication of examination outcomes and ensures transparency and accountability in the assessment process. So by adhering to a strict reporting timeline, the decree aims to provide candidates with timely feedback on their performance and facilitate the issuance of certificates to successful examinees. Moreover, the board's responsibilities in result dissemination. The provision allows for flexibility by permitting the board to grant extensions if necessary, acknowledging potential logistical or administrative challenges that may arise in the reporting process. So, the Section 10 underscores the commitment to maintaining a streamlined and responsive examination system, ultimately benefiting candidates, educational institutions, and the teaching profession as a whole. Okay, that's it. Now, for the Section 11, the issuance of certificates. This policy decree streamlines the certification process for teachers who have successfully passed the examinations administered by the Civil Service Commission or jointly by the Civil Service Commission and the Department of Education. So, process of obtaining professional teacher certificates. This provision recognizes the equivalency between passing examination administered by these governmental bodies and the passing the board examinations for teachers conducted by the National Board for Teachers. Teachers who have successfully cleared these examinations are considered to have met the standards required for professional practice in the teaching profession. And also, the board has the authority to accept the certificates of rating obtained from these examinations as certificates of eligibility. So the alternative, the board may opt to issue new certificates upon the teacher's registration and payment of the corresponding fees. Okay. Rule of the Civil Service Commission and Registration. This provision extends to teachers who hold permanent appointments under the Magna Carta for public school teachers and other qualified individuals seeking registration as professional teachers under the decree. So by standardizing the certification process, the decree ensures consistency and fairness in recognizing the qualifications of educators across various pathways. So the Section 11 implies or simplifies the certification process for qualified teachers, acknowledging their competency and facilitating their registration as professional educators. So this streamlined approach enhances efficiency and accessibility in the licensing process, ultimately benefiting both teachers and education sector as a whole. So now for the Section 12, the registration. So Civil Service Commission registers holders of professional teacher certificate. So the registration serves as official documentation as attesting the registrant is entitled to all the rights and privileges accorded to a professional teacher. These rights and privileges encompass various aspects, including eligibility for employment in teaching positions, entitlement to benefits and allowances, and recognition of professional status within the education sector. And the registration confirms entitlements to all rights and privileges of professional teacher, and that's what I said. And also the certificate may be suspended or cancelled by the board for just cause. So importantly, the registration remains valid unless and until the professional teacher certificate is suspended or cancelled by the board for just cause. So this provision underscores the significance of upholding professional standards and ethical conduct among registered teachers, as any violations or breaches may result in disciplinary action by the board. So, the Section 12 establishes a formalized process for registering professional teachers, ensuring clarity and consistency in recognizing the qualifications and entitlements. So, by entrusting the Civil Service Commissions with this responsibility, the decree promotes efficiency and accountability in the administration of teacher certification, ultimately contributing to the professionalism and integrity of the teacher or the teaching profession. So, now to the Section 13. Let's proceed to the Section 13, the reissuance of revoked certificates and replacements of the lost certificates. Board may issue another copy of revoked certificate upon proper application and payment of required fee. So, the provision allows the National Board for Teachers to issue another copy of a certificate that has been revoked upon proper application and payment of the required fee. So, this reflects a commitment to fairness and equity, recognizing the individuals may deserve a second chance or reinstatement of their certification under certain circumstances, and a replacement of lost, destroyed, or mutilated certificates subject to board rules. Also, the issuance for reasons of equity and justice. So, additionally, the board is empowered, to issue new certificates to replace those that has been lost, destroyed, or mutilated. So this ensures that the teachers can maintain official documentation of their qualifications and professional status, even in cases of unfortunate events or circumstances beyond their control. So overall, Section 13 provides a mechanism for addressing exceptional cases related to teaching certificates, promoting fairness, and facilitating the continuity of professional recognition for educators. And now, for the Section 14, the registration of reciprocity. Civil Service Commission can register foreign educated teachers without examination if their home country's registration requirements are similar to those in the Philippines. The home country allows Filipino citizens to practice teaching under equivalent conditions. So, the Civil Service Commission, with the approval of the board, is responsible for effecting the registration of foreign teachers without the need of examination. However, this registration is contingent upon several factors. First is the requirement for registration in the foreign state or country must be substantially similar to those mandated by the decree. Second is the laws of the foreign state or country must permit citizens of the Philippines to practice the teaching profession on equal terms and grant them as the same privileges as citizens or subjects of that state or the country. And third is the applicants must provide competent and conclusive documentary evidence confirmed by the Department of Foreign Affairs, demonstrating that the laws of their country allow Filipino citizens to practice teaching under equivalent rules and regulations. So this provision promotes international cooperation and recognition of the teaching qualifications, facilitating the mobility of educators across borders, and it ensures that foreign teachers who meet equivalent standards can contribute their expertise to the Philippine education system without undergoing redundant examination processes. So that's it for the Section 14. Now let's proceed to the Section 15, the prohibition. Prohibition on teaching without a professional teacher certificate. This provision aims to ensure that individuals entrusted with educating students possess the necessary qualifications, skills, and competencies to perform their duties effectively. So by requiring professional certification, the decree upholds standards of quality and professionalism within the teaching profession, ultimately benefiting students and enhancing the overall quality of education. So it applies 3 years after the decree's effectivity, and no person can teach in public or private elementary or secondary schools without certification, of course, and the exceptions for those considered professional teachers under the decree. So this is a no-brainer, But additionally, the 3-year grace period provided after the decree's effectivity allows for a transition period during which individuals can obtain the required certification. This facilitates a smooth implementation of process and gives aspiring educators ample time to meet the necessary application or qualifications. So the Section 15 underscores the importance of professional certifications in maintaining the integrity and effectiveness of the education system. So by mandating certification for teachers, the decree seeks to elevate the standards of teaching and ensures that every student receives quality education from also a qualified professionals. So, now, next one is the Section 16 or the penal provision. Violations including teaching without certifications or presenting false documentations incur fines of 1,000 to 5,000 pesos with potential imprisonment for 6 months to 2 years at the court's discretion. So the provision stipulates that individuals who practice teaching without a valid professional teacher certificate, present fraudulent certificates, provide false evidence to obtain certification, or violate any provision of the decree will face course penalties. These penalties include a fine ranging, like what I said, like from 1,000 pesos to 5,000 pesos, with the possibility of subsidiary imprisonment or imprisonment for a period of 6 months to 2 years, or both, at the discretion of the court. So by imposing penalties for non-compliance and fraudulent behavior, the decree aims to uphold the integrity of the teaching profession and safeguard the interests of students and educational institutions. So it sends a clear message that adherence to professional standards and ethical conduct is paramount in the field of education. So that's it. Now, the next one is the Section 17, Repealing Clause. Nullifies or adjusts any existing laws, decrees, orders, or regulations conflicting with this decree. Ensures consistency and alignment with the provisions of Presidential Decree Number 1006. So, it serves to streamline the legal framework governing education by repealing or modifying any existing laws, decrees, executive orders, administrative orders, rules and regulations that are inconsistent with the provisions of the decree. So this provision ensures clarity and consistency in the legal landscape surrounding education in the Philippines. So by removing or amending conflicting statutes, the decree eliminates potential confusion and ambiguity, allowing for smoother implementation of its provisions. So, additionally, the repeal or modification of outdated and contradictory laws enables the education sector to adapt to evolving needs and priorities effectively. And it aligns the legal framework with contemporary educational practices and standards, thereby enhancing the efficiency and the effectiveness of educational governance. So the Section 17 reflects a commitment to creating a cohesive and coherent legal framework that supports the goals and objectives outlined in the policy decree, and ultimately benefiting students, educators, and also the educational institutions across our country or across the Philippines. And now, the Section 18, Separability Clause, protects the validity of unaffected provisions if any part of the decree is deemed unconstitutional. This clause emphasizes that principle of legal stability and ensures that the validity of the entire decree is not compromised by the invalidity of specific provisions. In other words, if one part of the decree is found to be unconstitutional, the remaining provisions will remain in effect and enforceable. And that ensures that the remaining sections remain in force even if one part is invalidated by a court. So the inclusion of separability clause is a standard legal practice aimed at mitigating potential legal uncertainties and preserving the overall effectiveness of legislation. So it provides reassurance that the decree as a whole will continue to serve its intended purpose even if certain aspects are challenged in court. So, in summary, Section 18 reaffirms that the commitment to legal clarity and stability, ensuring that the objectives and provisions of the policy decree remain intact and enforceable, notwithstanding any legal challenges that may arise. So now we are here for the last one, the Section 19, the effectivity. The decree shall take effect January 1, 1977. By setting a clear effective date, Section 19 provides stakeholders, including educators, educational institutions, and regulatory bodies, with a definitive timeline for compliance and adaptations to the new regulations and standards introduced by this decree. So, Section 19 signifies the start of a new regulatory framework aimed at enhancing the quality, professionalism, and accountability within the teaching profession, and ultimately contributing to the improvement of the education system in the Philippines. So that's it for the Presidential Decree number 1006, Professionalizing Teaching in the Philippines. So, in generalization, the policy decree outlines comprehensive measures aimed at enhancing the quality, professionalism, and regulation of the teaching profession here in our country, the Philippines, through provisions emphasizing the importance of teacher education, defining qualifications and responsibilities, establishing examination processes, and enforcing standards and penalties. The decree sets a robust framework for ensuring excellence in education. And additionally, the inclusion of clauses addressing legal stability and the commencement of the decree's implementation underscores the commitment to clarity, consistency, and effectiveness in educational governance. Overall, these provisions collectively contribute to the advancement of the education system, with a focus on promoting student learning outcomes, upholding professional standards, and fostering the development of competent and dedicated educators. So that's it. So thank you for listening. I hope you learned something. Goodbye.